Almost a year ago, when hundreds of Hamas terrorists left Palestinian-controlled Gaza at the crack of dawn, they left an area not occupied by Israel, an area where the local Gazan people had been in control for nearly 2 decades. And when they invaded Israel, that's what they were doing, crossing a border and invading Israel, they were intent on committing the most barbaric atrocities imaginable. That was their aim: to murder, torture and rape women, to slaughter men, women and children, to defile their bodies, take bodies back to Gaza as trophies and take hundreds of hostages too. Why? Apart from exercising a visceral hatred and anti-Jewish hatred that's at the core of this Islamist extremism, apart from that, what did they want to achieve? Not the bloodthirsty terrorists themselves, perhaps, but their leaders and their puppet masters in Iran. What was the aim of those October the 7th atrocities? This is the question that's too often overlooked. And I've got to say, I don't talk about it often enough because I presume, perhaps wrongly, that most people understand this. But maybe they don't, because there's so much propaganda around, there's so much false reporting and ignorant debate on these issues. Too many in the media and in politics try to pretend that these terrorist attacks and the firing of missiles into Israel by Hamas and Hezbollah, they pretend all this is about setting up a Palestinian state, hitting back at Israel and delivering a two-state solution. That's certainly the theme of protests right around the world.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
From the river to the sea!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Free, free Palestine!
But that's clearly not the real agenda. That's just the lie that the terror groups spread. That's their propaganda. But it's the last thing they want. If the Palestinian leadership wanted a two-state solution, they would have grabbed it at Camp David 24 years ago. Everything we know about Hamas, Hezbollah and their Iranian backers tells us this is not what they want. They all want to eliminate Israel altogether. It's in their charters, it's in their rhetoric and their actions, and it's confirmed repeatedly by their leaders. They will never accept any two-state solution. They are 100% committed, religiously committed, fanatically committed to clearing Jewish people out of the Middle East, pushing them out from the river to the sea. So that brings me back to the terror attacks. Other than hatred, why do they visit this evil upon innocent strangers?
Gaan in zijn publiceren, stank op staan. Korf wist dat mijn leven is vriend voor kast of vriend bij telegram. Dat is toch weer mijn machine de lobo gaan zien. Ze dat goed op de dam kale de jeri. Wat ik hem uit kon maken als voor team is goed voor de kwies. Is goed spot. De kolpina be kon maken. Dat zou je ooit toe.
Well, they did it to terrorise Israel, of course, and they did it to spark war with Israel, to force a war in Gaza, ensuring there'd be no peace and ensuring that Palestinians too would be killed, so they could use the deaths of their own people as propaganda against Israel. That's why they hide among civilians. That's why they fire rockets from schools and hospitals. That's why they tell lies about how many people are killed and by whom. Remember, the media early on ran claims an Israeli missile hit a hospital and killed 500 people in Gaza, only it turned out to be an Islamic Jihad rocket that killed 20 or 30 of their own Palestinian people. Criticism of Israel is all they want. Demonisation of Israel is what they crave, and they don't care how many Jews or how many Palestinians have to die to make that happen. So when you see ugly protests on our streets against Israel and the flag of Hezbollah flying on Australian streets and our politicians putting pressure on Israel and showing weakness against the terrorist organisations, that is exactly what the terrorists want to see. They want Israel to be under pressure. They want world opinion turned against Israel, and their willing accomplices far too often are Western politicians and media who buy the spin, believe the lies, and pretend the bloodthirsty terrorist atrocities are actually carried out by freedom fighters trying to win some two-state solution. So far, almost a year on from October the 7th, you'd have to say that Hamas, Hezbollah and Iran would be well pleased. Their repugnant and murderous tactics have terrorised Israel. They've created a living hell in Gaza. They've cost thousands of lives, and they've put political and diplomatic heat on Israel. Many people blaming the victim, blaming Israel for the carnage that Hamas and Hezbollah have deliberately triggered. It's all made a lasting peace much less likely. The terrorists have been so successful that a year on, our own country even is divided over this conflict. These Islamist extremist terrorists have slaughtered innocent Israelis and subjected innocent Palestinians to the hell of war, all in order to manipulate world opinion against Israel. And sickeningly, they've succeeded. Ignorance is their greatest weapon. People need to understand what is going on. There will be no peace in the Middle East until the Palestinian people have a leadership that wants it.